Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports. Every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide, the $1 Million Show, and we like to keep it real. I want to thank all of our listeners from Latin America, so bienvenidos to you. And also, we got people in Europe and all over the continent listening, so I want to thank you for listening in, and of course, the great United States of America. Now, Big C, I know it's pretty hot out here in California. I think we hit 100 degrees here in Northern California, but in Palm Springs, if you've ever been to Southern California, they're expecting 120 degrees temperature. Is that too hot for you good old boys down south, Big C?
Well, now, Charlton, that's almost hot enough to fry some fish in. You know, we go out there and catch some catfish and skin it and drop it right in some grease.
Well, I tell you, when you talk about the heat that they have in Southern California, up in the desert region, just northeast of Los Angeles, and they will say, well, it's a dry heat. But if it's hot, 100, I think you can cook some catfish and 120 degrees. So what's the temperature like back in the south, Big C?
Well, you know, Charlton, we always have a little humidity because we have that excessive moisture. We require a lot of rain because when you're making moonshine, you got to have that pure water. So we like that stuff falling out of the sky that is relatively clean. And, you don't have to put it through a filtering system.
That's not fair. Not only do you guys use your neighbor's electricity, but you heat your moonshine with lightning, Big C, electricity. That is so funny. And as we know, this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealer, home of the all-new Escalade. You can only get it there brand new. And when you go by and test drive it, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, Big C, we just saw a great happening of sports over the weekend, and you know, the LeBron James story continues to roll on in the great state of Ohio, up in Akron where he grew up. But Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors, an amazing Game 7. My only thought was it was staged, and I know that a lot of people won't say that because we're all supposed to just go and enjoy the show. But just your thoughts on the great series. I know LeBron James, undisputed, one of the best NBA players ever. Your thoughts on the series, Big C?
Well, as you say, it did look kind of staged in Game 6 and 7, Charlton. I continuously questioned in the last two games why when Golden State had free runs at the rim, they would always kick it out for an outside jump shot. Go to the rim, get your conventional three-point play, get your layup and your free throw. And so I questioned that in the last two games, and I think when a lot of people watch that from home is that you were wondering why Golden State was always relying on the jump shot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a great jump shooting team, but
not when the
you also got to have some inside game, Charlton.
Yeah.
That's the thing that bothers me the most. But, there was, once again, a lot of egregious calls by the officials in the game.
Yeah.
And I think the one that was most troubling to me was when Steph Curry got his third or fourth foul from Scheffler. And he was standing there, and he was braced up to take on the screen. Scheffler runs him over, ends up on top of him on the floor, and they call the foul on Steph.
Yeah.
And there was another play, LeBron, tremendous, great series, individual effort, night in, night out. But there was a play on Livingston. Livingston went in, he blocked Livingston's shot, but he drove him into the goal standard.
Yeah.
And no foul was called, but then there was a three-point shot by Scheffler where Livingston touched him on the wrist. He fell about 5 feet away from where he took the jump shot.
Yeah.
And got a 4-point play out of it. So the consistency of the officials, I mean, the NBA is one of the greatest marketing engines in the world.
Yeah.
There was more profit in Cleveland winning a championship, overall marketability of the league versus Golden State repeating. You haven't had a championship in a city since 1964 and Jim Brown and the Cleveland Browns with Paul Brown as the head coach beating the Baltimore Colts. For a championship, Charlton.
Yeah, that was December 27th.
That was a long, dry spell in that city. Great for the city, great for the region. Great entertainment for television, but there's still a lot of question marks after the game.
Yeah, well, I understand too, because what I like, and I love the sport, and of course I was biased for Golden State because I grew up here in California, but I still like Cleveland. I love the way that they came when they earned it. Now, when I was talking to a former football player about the game and how he thought the game went.
Somebody else played too?
Well, but is how we were talking about the game, and he gave me this story, and he said, well, how it was kind of like taking Joe Montana out of an NFC Championship game, and you say, well, we're bringing back for the Super Bowl. It breaks the chemistry of the team, and I think that's what happened when Draymond was taken out. But you got to give Cleveland credit because they came back, and they actually went to the foul line. I think they shot 5 free throws in the fourth quarter. Golden State didn't shoot any of them. And that's bizarre when you're not getting calls going to the rim, especially at home.
There was one point in the game where Cleveland had gone to the line 16 times.
Yeah.
Golden State had gone twice.
Yeah.
So that was quite a discrepancy, and that was just not in the championship game, Charlton, but throughout the series. But that was also led by Golden State's unwillingness, Charlton, to penetrate the lane. Yeah. And even when they did penetrate the lane, they did not get the calls.
Yeah, that's a lot of what was seen out here. And again, you credit, I just want to see players play. I would have hated if Michael Jordan was, fouled out of a game or he was suspended for a game for profanity that was sent to LeBron James. But I do want to get into this segment about LeBron and what he means for basketball right now. I know there's all this talk about Steph Curry being the only unanimous MVP of the league, and he does have some injuries, but some people, everybody's injured this time of the season. What I do recall seeing in this game, there were a number of times where Curry was on the ground because he was being knocked to the ground, and that's what we call the Jordan rules, when you allow the MVP to kind of play a little bit more lenient than the other players, Big C. Those calls would have gone against anyone that hit Jordan. As we know, he even pushed off a couple of times. But that's what greatness buys you. And I think it bought that for LeBron. But I was just surprised that the league, in their bias, they didn't give Curry the same affordability of getting the call, Big C. I thought that was playing in the heart of the NBA. But you're right, too. They don't want to see multiple championship teams, back-to-back. It's good to spread the wealth. Your thoughts on that, Big C?
Well, I agree with you so much, Charlton, on the calls that Curry does not get. Find me another superstar in the NBA who does not get those calls. Yeah. Find me, Charlton, an MVP that has played in the NBA in the last 30 years, okay? The last 30 years. Yeah. That is fouled out of a championship series game.
You can't find it.
It has not happened, Charlton. Right. The way they treated Stephon Curry was very egregious. It came down to a lot of the media mocking that we heard about him, that he wasn't tough enough. Yeah. I go back to the Oklahoma City series where, they made light of his defense in a press conference. But no, everybody in the NBA, Charlton, is not a great defensive player. Yeah. I don't think Kobe was a great defensive player the last 5 years of his career, Charlton, when you look at it. And you look up and down the list, there's not a lot of great defensive players at point guard in the NBA, Charlton. Their job is to handle and distribute the basketball. Steph just happens to be a great shooter. But anyone who wants to go back and look at the fouls in the game, and I think Bron got his first foul late in the third or early.
Yeah, it was late in the game.
As physical as he played, and he cannot get a foul.
No, I thought that was so funny because, and again, I love the way LeBron plays. I think he's the hardest working player in the league. He's been doing it 13 years. He also knows what it's like to lose championships, so it's not as if he hasn't earned his stripes. I just think when you look at the game from a whole and you're trying to sell the league around the world and you look at how, people are not dumb. They love basketball, but they also know what's fair. And as one of the football players was telling me, if you took Joe Montana out of the NFC Championship game and said, we'll reinstate him for the Super Bowl, well, what about if you fouled out Jerry Rice, in one of those games? So in 2 games back-to-back, you had Draymond Green and Curry not being able to participate the whole 48 minutes. So when you talk about someone having their hand in the cookie jar, I think a lot of people see that, and that's the mark about what just happened in this whole series. Now, you can fault Golden State for being up 3-1, but it's not their fault when their players are suspended and their star player is called for fouling out 3 times. There was just questionable calls, and then they fine him and his coach for even saying something. So what's this point of having instant replay if you can't speak your mind and say what you think you see, Big C? I don't think that's cool either for the NBA standpoint. Your thoughts on that?
Well, that's one of the most laughable things about the NBA, Charlton, when you talk about what you just said, instant replay. Why do you have it when you only use it in situational scenarios? You use it in a timeout to find out whether it was a 3-point shot or not. Yeah. You use it in minimal situations, but when you have situations that are completely questionable, all you have to do is go to the monitor. It doesn't take more than 1 or 2 looks
right.
at a monitor on an instant replay. It doesn't take 2 minutes. So when they talk about it elongating a game, making the game longer, breaking the ebb and flow, no, it doesn't. Breaking the ebb and flow is when you got 3 officials in the huddle talking about what did you see. Okay, we got a monitor sitting over here, 46-inch monitor. Turn it around. Hit me with 2 quick replays. Let me see. But what happens with that, Charlton, as we talked about things being orchestrated, what does Kodak do? Kodak tells you the truth. And the officials, as Jack would say, you can't handle the truth.
Right.
So why do they want to put themselves in that predicament of being honest? They play the 3 blind mice. Hear no see evil, see no evil, speak no evil. So if we don't run the replay, we don't have to tell the truth.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate too, because on the other hand, when I look at how the game went down to the wire, I think we were tied with about a minute and a couple of seconds to play, and Golden State missed a couple of threes when I thought they should have driven to the basket also, and they didn't score for it. Over the last 4 minutes. They went scoreless in the game at home. They won more games than anyone in the history of the league. They also had the highest scoring team in the league, but their inability or unwillingness to go to the basket, to me it just seems like they were settling for the home run as opposed to the sure thing. Sometimes you get your 3 points that way by going to the basket, getting fouled, even though I thought Iguodala was fouled when James blocked his shot at the end, but he's not going to get that call. But I think James would get that call in the end when Draymond Green blocked his shot, Big C. So it just seemed like it was called in 2 different ways, but I'm sure the NBA got what they wanted, and it's great to see a competitive game. That was the only competitive game in the whole series, Big C. So now going forward, what does it mean for Cleveland to have this happen for the great state of Ohio? But LeBron James seems to be the new Jim Brown, and is that fair, or hasn't accomplished that yet, Big C? Your thoughts on that?
Well, it's hard to say that he's the new Jim Brown, Charlton, because Jim Brown was a social activist more than he was an athlete. He was a precedent setter. Now, LeBron James makes more money than Jim Brown could have ever thought about. But, as far as what Jim Brown did for the NFL, for integration, on and off the field, Charlton, that can never be reached by LeBron James. He's great for Madison Avenue, okay? He's going to make a lot of corporations a lot of money.
Yeah.
But will he do what Jim Brown did for the community of Cleveland?
Yeah.
Will he be that social voice that will bridge a gap, Charlton, economically and socially in that depressed area, Charlton? That's what LeBron James can really do. Now, you have to wonder about all those people who burned his jersey 5 years ago, Charlton, when he left for Miami. How stupid do they feel, man? And that was part of the racial divide when you look at who was burning his jerseys and who was not burning his jerseys, Charlton.
That is so funny.
That's what I'm talking about. Can he bend that racial divide? Can he bend that economic divide that we've talked about so much on this program? How will you help our communities socially and financially? LeBron James, being at the level that he is marketing, Charlton, he can get with corporations and say, this is what you need to do for our depressed area. Because that was part of that iron belt up in the Northeast in America.
I think
and a person like LeBron can make a social impact, not a sports impact, Charlton, a social impact, if he's really sincere about being a Cleveland, Charlton.
I think, there's so much talk about him renewing his contract and staying in Cleveland throughout the rest of his career. But ironically, just business-wise, because he's a smart guy, obviously. He's, I think, getting the largest contract in the history of sports, $1 billion, I believe is what I'm hearing. And I still think he's wasting his time in Cleveland if you have New York or Los Angeles, because he's only 31 years old. The only thing he could do is win another championship for Cleveland, but they got one in 52 years, so they're okay there. But if he was going to go on and become he's already a superstar. Maybe it's even stupid to say this, but what does Cleveland offer that New York and Los Angeles does not offer? I don't think anything. If anything, go create a new legacy. And can you do what Magic did? Can you do what Kareem did? Can you do what Kobe did and Shaq? Could you bring another title to L.A.? Or if you went to New York, wouldn't it be great to see the New York Knicks get back into the thick of things if they brought King James to the biggest city in the United States, Big C?
Well, Charlton, the problem with trying to take him to New York is that you got too big a contract sitting there already. For him to go into one of these mega cities, Charlton, he's going to have to take a pay reduction. And I don't know if he can go into one of these cities, Charlton, and put together a championship. You have to look at their rosters, see what they don't have. One guy is a great player, but one player is not going to make an entire team. Okay? Cleveland was a good team prior to LeBron coming back. Kyrie Irving had arrived. Now LeBron came back in, but also who came with him? Kevin Love and a couple other players, Richard Jefferson, J.R. Smith. These players help round out the organization, Charlton. LeBron is great. I mean, if you're just talking about a superstar, what has Carmelo Anthony done? He can't win 30 games a year. And he can score as many points as LeBron. But when you got to have an organizational structure, you know, and I heard a saying that, as we always say in sports, a source. When he was talking about Luke Walton. And Luke Walton a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago or so, said, hey, I had the best record in the NBA when I was coaching, and no one has equaled that this year. So I don't know if that was a fact about him having the best record when he was a coach, you know, but no one equaled that this year. So he didn't make any bad decisions with only 3 losses coming to All-Star break, Charlton.
I think that's. Go ahead.
Maybe he should have had his finger on the throttle a little more, dictating what Golden State was doing in the playoffs. Maybe Steve should have shared a little bit of that with Walton.
Well, you know, the cynical part, and I don't even believe what I'm going to say, but you just hear things. Just real talk, so you repeat what people are saying. You know, this oligarchy of power at the top. You have, like, the great Michael Jordan, Steve Kerr, Michael Jordan were teammates. Now, I don't believe that. I just don't believe what I'm going to say, but you hear people saying stupid things. Does Michael have so much power that he could call Steve and say, hey, you know, they don't want to win the championship because they don't want to break our record? I think that's so foolish. I just think Golden State, I mean, it's stupid to say players choked. They didn't really choke. They just got outplayed. I thought they got tired. Their legs got tired, and they stopped driving to the basket, even though when they drove to the basket, they were not getting the calls. What anyone can learn from LeBron James is this guy, he's always in great shape, Big C. The guy is never out of shape. He's never been in trouble. When he needs points, he can get points. He's also the guy who will take a lot of criticism, and we've also been critical of him as well as praising him on the program. But I think this guy, he reminds me so much of what Ali was, even though he's not. I mean, Ali had a certain charisma that players don't have now. But, you know, in society, people love to build you up, Big C. They love to tear you down. What I love about LeBron James is he did this without a superstar cast around him outside of Kyrie Irving. It's not like he had LeBron James when he went down to Cleveland, down to Miami, and had Wade and also Bosh. I think this was a little bit more challenging for him because there was a lot of pressure put on him. But that's why I think the NBA steps in, and they do what Magic Johnson said about 30 years ago. He wants to thank the NBA for 7 games. He didn't thank his teammates. He thanked the NBA. And that was with the great Lakers. Just being cynical, Big C, any thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I think the 4 greatest parts, and like I said, the 4 greatest parts to Cleveland's championship. Adam Silver at point guard. Okay?
I thought that was so funny.
Adam Silver at point guard. We had 3 officials playing power forward, shooting guard, and center. LeBron was just a swing man. All right? He played the role that those 4 guys let him play. But Adam Silver was the point guard in the direction of this championship. Because when was the last time you saw a team that was up 2-0 and hit the wall? Could not score again.
No, I hadn't seen it.
I don't care what sport you're in. You don't go up 2-0, 3-1 and can't score anymore. If you look at Golden State's average in the last 3 games, Charles, what they average, about 85 points a game?
They didn't even hit 100 the last 2 games, Big C.
So if you're doing that and you're the highest scoring team basically in league history in 25 years, everybody can't be that cold. You know, the thing that bothered me the most, Charlton, and I've been cynical of sports ever since I've ever played, and been in some games that were very questionable. What came back to mind was the movie Blue Chips. Nick Nolte, Bobby Knight, Penny Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal, and a host of other players. Where this was a conference team, and all of a sudden, teams could not hit shots. But you talked about it a lot before each game, what the point spread was. And so, it's hard not to think about these things because you got Vegas involved.
Yeah.
You got point spreads involved. And you got teams that all of a sudden they would shoot the ball as soon as they came out of the locker room.
Yeah.
Now can't even shoot it at all.
Well, think about this. In Game 1, Golden State 104, Cleveland 89. Game 2, 110-77. Game 3, Cleveland 120, Golden State 90. Game 4, 108-97. Now, Game 5, Cleveland 112, Warriors 97. Game 6, 115-101. And Game 7, 93-89. Guess where Cleveland went last night after they won the game, Big C? Now, I know we talk about things that tend to happen, and I know nobody really wants to see the irony in that. But after you get your championship, you get out to the city of Las Vegas, which I think is a different, opposite direction than Cleveland. And I don't think they had to take a connecting flight to Las Vegas International.
Well, you got your own plane, but like you said, everybody stopped in Vegas, and there was a lot of cash flow last night. Okay?
Yeah, I thought that was so funny because people say we need a pro team in Vegas. It's okay to have a professional sports team in Las
They
Vegas.
used to have that. I mean, Jerry Tarkanian used to go sit back in the 70s and 80s, and UNLV was the highest scoring team in college basketball history.
Yeah, well, it's just ironic. People say, Vegas doesn't have anything to do with professional sports. I mean, guys can't be taken, and then they fly a commercial jet down to Las Vegas from Oakland after they won a championship. What did they pick up that they had to take to Cleveland? I just thought that was funny.
They needed the cargo area in their plane, Charlton, to take the rest of the money back home, okay?
Well, we saw LeBron walk off the plane with a big old gold trophy in his hand. And speaking of gold, this segment is sponsored by your Northern California BMW dealer, home of the ultimate driving machine. Go down and test drive the 1 Series all the way up to the flagship 600 horsepower M7. And when you go down and test drive it, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. So Big C again, I love the game too, and I love how competitive athletes can be. But I look at a couple of players. When I look at Thompson and Curry, I mean, for Curry to only have 17 points and to just have a horrible game in the fourth quarter, it's unlike anything I've ever seen watching this kid over the past several seasons. And I won't say the pressure got to him. I just think there's a lot of things that go on in the world of sports that people don't want to hear about. But I just almost want to say I appreciate seeing how competitive that game was. The Oracle fans are amazing. So are the fans in Cleveland. It shows why NBA basketball is fantastic. I just think there's so much to be said about that. So let me ask you this one question then. If you were trying to, everybody's happy now, right? Everyone's happy in Cleveland. Obviously, they could bring some players back. I don't think they need Moskov anymore. I really don't think they need Deladova. I think Jefferson may retire. But when I look at Golden State, they have the same. Azili, man, disappointed with his performance. And I just don't see where they need to pay him all that money to get 1 point of the game. And no, I think he had about one block shot, Big C, because they really did miss Bogut more than I thought they would. Any changes you would make with Golden State? Is it talk of Kevin Durant coming out here, Big C? I don't think so, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Kevin Durant can end up anywhere he wants. So, if you think about Golden State, they really were hurt by Bogut. People say that Bogut didn't do anything, and he had that pressure and that presence in the middle, Charlton. And when you look at teams in the NBA, even Cleveland winning the championship, even the goal that went under the radar, he got a lot of hate. Yeah. But Tristan Thompson made a difference in that series, Charlton. When you're looking at him with the double-digit rebounds every night, Charlton. That was the major difference. You had a big body in the middle. Everybody talked about LeBron, but I believe, Thompson had 14 rebounds last night?
He is amazing.
And he scored in the paint consistently. So that made a difference, put a lot of pressure on Golden State. So when you look at teams in the playoffs, in the NBA, everybody has a big man. Whether it was Toronto, San Antonio, Portland, everybody had a big man, Charlton. Even in Indianapolis, that's the difference. And people want to think that Cleveland doesn't. When you have Moskov and Thompson, those are two big men. You can spin off a dozen fouls if you really need to. But Thompson, if you think about last year, Charlton, in the playoffs, he was a dominant force in the playoffs last year. But once again, someone else got all the credit. And these are those role players. They call them role players. But, he makes $14 million a year from some reason.
maybe now that they went down to Las Vegas, he might have more than $14 million, Big C. And also, this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Ford dealer, home of the all-new F-150. They build it Ford tough. When you go down and test drive it, let them know that Charlton and Big C sent you. Also, Beneath His Wings Foundation.org. Make a donation today. It's easy, it's fast, and secure. And also tweet out to Cynthia Evans at CYNN Entertainment. When it comes to promotion, she's the best. And Northern California. Also, you can make a donation to Charlton and Big C Sports. Now, Big C, when we get into this final segment, I just want to say, number one, I'm so grateful to be a part of this media because we have things on Twitter where you can reach out to people and see what people are thinking simultaneously. Unlike the days when you had to get to your house to watch the TV that had the antenna, and I think they had the sports, I think it was Sports Center or Sports Central before
we had a little foil on top of rabbit ears on TV.
Okay.
And the youngest kid in the house was the remote control.
Okay. But remember before ESPN came out, what was it, Sports Machine? I think it was called the Sports Machine.
Al Michael Sports Machine.
Yeah, and it would go off
Al
about...
Michael, God, his name was Al, but I can't
I know what you're saying, but those days we had to go and wait for that 30-minute sports show to come on. And most local news programs, they have about a 10-minute sports segment. But now you had ESPN come on the scene, but now this Twitter, you can hear what other athletes are saying as it happens. You don't have to wait until you get home and turn on your TV.
Larry Tunsil didn't want that to happen, Charlton, the number one draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
When he had that hoodie on draft.
Oh, I know. And that sometimes, you hear about Draymond Green and he and LeBron James, they actually do some things together. And LeBron had told Draymond when he was at Michigan State that you're going to be drafted, so don't do anything stupid. Make sure that you take care of yourself and just stay away from bad influences. And that's good advice because last night I had a lot more respect for Draymond Green even than I had all season. And I always know that Steph Curry is the league's MVP, unanimous. No problem with that, especially for the regular season. But I would say that LeBron is the best player still in the league. But for the Warriors, I think Draymond Green is the glue that makes their team work because he does it all emotionally, offensively, defensively. He's a guy that can bang down inside. He had 5 3-point baskets last night. And I just think that...
He actually had 6, Charles.
He had 6? Okay, 6, Big C. So taking that out when he was suspended by some phantom person in power, whoever that person was, I think that's also a reason that Cleveland went down to Vegas and picked up whatever they picked up. They showed the guys at the club.
Well, they did it under the cloak of darkness, Charlton, when they got on the plane. If you think about it, they followed that O.J. chasing. We'll show up during the daytime. Yeah. So you won't see us get off the plane and back on until it's dark.
Now, you see, Adam Silver, I know they want people to believe that everything's on the up and up, but don't send your team to Vegas after the game. Let them wait a couple of days. That's what most guys do. They don't leave right from the trophy celebration.
No, Charlton, normally you send a runner out to get the money for you, okay? You normally don't go pick that up on your own. But, it was such in poor taste last night to allow the champions to go right into Vegas. So all the places that you could have gone, and you sent them to Vegas, after Vegas is the one setting the line on the games, Charlton.
I mean, we know about the hard thing that happened to Lamar Odom going down to Vegas, and they showed the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, a lot of these guys have wives and girlfriends, and some have both. But I think it was poor taste. They had strippers walking around at this party. I don't know if someone had a cell phone or what it was, but there were women walking around in their underwear. And here are these guys that just won the NBA championship when they should have been going back to Cleveland because I thought that's the team in the city they won it for, right?
You mean those weren't cheerleaders, Charlton?
If they were in Victoria's Secret lingerie. And speaking of Victoria's Secret, this segment is sponsored by United Labor, guaranteed $100,000 life insurance, no medical questions. Also, Goosehead Property and Casualty. We beat about 98% of the people when it comes to a quote. And also, I'm a broker with One Life Insurance, and we're the leaders when it comes to final expense. Big C, in the last segment, I just want to say this because I know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But they had guys down in Vegas that were just in Oakland about a couple of hours before, no shirts on, in a nightclub. And you just thought, what is Adam Silver trying to do? There was a thing that David Stern did to clean up the league where he didn't want the SAG look. Guys walking around with their underwear hanging out like that's cool. We know there's a lot of guys that dress that way. They have no class, but they do it anyway. But at least Stern wanted to clean it up. So here comes Silver, and he goes a little bit further than that. He has guys down there hanging out with girls walking around in lingerie after they just won the NBA championship. What is he thinking, Big C? Is it just me, or does that seem like it doesn't make any sense there?
Well, I guess it's a new age of marketing from the new commissioners. We've talked about everything else. He's orchestrating the outcome of games as well as everything else. But when you go back to Commissioner David Stern, who was a consummate professional as far as how he constructed the league, Charlton, as far as marketing, professionalism, public appearance, it was required to wear a suit, Charlton, at all times when you were representing a team, Charlton, in front of the media with Commissioner David Stern. At a press conference after game, you didn't see guys in here with all the things that they wear now. Charlton, you wore a coat and a tie. This was a professional organization. And now that Commissioner Stern is gone, Adam Silver, and it's hard to call him commissioner with his actions that he's done. It's almost like a dog and pony show right now as far as public perception. And when you're seeing the team that wins the NBA championship
to Vegas at midnight,
and everybody's in a club, you might as well call it a strip club. The guys and the girls were in there without their clothes on.
That is bizarre.
That was the new marketing of the NBA. Now let's have ESPN talk about that, Charlton. What their perspective is on the commissioner and the Cleveland Cavaliers representing the latest championship in pro sports out stripping.
Well, so much for women and equality. We know, hey, if you're a woman, you can do whatever you want to do. I just thought, they have this thing where they can't wait to do it for the city of Cleveland. And they can't wait to get back home to Cleveland. I think they're having a parade on Wednesday. And the whole thing was...
Hopefully they'll find the clothes by then.
They'll find the clothes by then. But they had people waiting in Cleveland saying they haven't slept. They were up all night waiting for this plane to get in. But see, this plane could have got there sooner had they not spent several hours down in Las Vegas doing whatever they had to do. I just thought that was such a bad look. And now you have other teams saying they want to go to Vegas too. I just thought it was just ironic. It was just weird, Big C. But as we wrap this up, I know we had some golf going on with the USGA. And golf to me was not that important because the NBA Game 7 is the most, I think, outside of the Super Bowl or the World Series in the Game 7. Very exciting, but congratulations, Dustin Johnson, winning that. And also Jim Furyk came in second. We know Jason Day, the world's best golfer, he's a notable, but he finished right about 7th or 8th. And then Jordan Spieth kind of fell off the map too. So the last thing I'll have you touch on, Big C, as we come to the close. Again, great NBA Finals, Game 7, the way it was orchestrated. I think there's so much to be said about how great this game can be. I think Adam Silver, you got to tighten up the reins. I know adults do what they want to do, and what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But I couldn't imagine if we start taking every sports team, when they win, they usually say they're going to Disneyland. No one says we're going to the strip club after the game. So I just thought that was funny. Maybe it's just me, Big C. So again, how would you tell Cleveland to congratulate themselves without going to the city in the desert? I believe next time, Big C, your thoughts on what we'll see for the celebration.
Well, Charlton, I want to summarize a couple things. I wanted to start with the U.S. Open that you spoke about. Dustin Johnson won his first PGA championship. But it also, when you look at the PGA right now, look like the PGA is coming back to Tiger Woods. When you only have a -4 win in the national championship like that, Tiger Woods could have played in this tournament. But I also want to congratulate the California, San Francisco Bay Area, Charlton. In the last, the last 6 months, last 5 months, that they've hosted 3 of the major championships in American professional sports. You had the NHL championship with the San Jose Sharks playing it in. You had the Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers that was played right there in San Jose also. And you had the Golden State Warriors representing the NBA in the championship game right there at Oracle Arena in Oakland. So you have to take hats off to the fans and the cities in Northern California for the marvelous job that they've done, Charlton, in the past 5 months in representing professional sports, being professional. You didn't have any hooligans, any riots, or anything like that. I want to praise the people of Northern California for their gamesmanship, Charlton, in representing what fans should be in professional sports.
Well, definitely, and also California has it going on, and you'll see USC. They're also going to celebrate their national championship kicking off against Alabama in the kickoff classic, Big C. The USC Trojans, don't leave Southern California out, Big C. We know the Dodgers, they're looking at strong this year, but we have the Giants looking for another World Series. But USC, that game against Alabama, same kind of anticipation, Big C. And when it comes to anticipation, your thoughts on that game?
Before you get to that point, we have this saying down south that we can go open up a can of wheat, and it's not ready with.
I hear they may have a can of tuna, but that's all they're going to be opening. And speaking of tuna, every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide. You can listen to Charlton and Big C Sports. They want to bring it to you real every Monday through Friday. And also want to say thank you to all of our people listening. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope you have a super fantastic day.